food, but whatever. But I mean, you start to discover that, oh my gosh, there's great Americana in these places. Yeah, and they're relatively inexpensive. I think the Jell-O Museum was free, if not a nominal admission charge.
Right. Along those lines, we featured the Spam Museum in Austin, Minnesota, which I believe is also free
or close to free. Yeah. Yeah, the Spam. Did you go to the Spam? I haven't been to the Spam Museum. I would go there.
I would go there too.
I would do that. How about you? Your last trip, what'd you do, if you don't mind me asking? We got like a minute left in the program.
Okay, well, actually, recently I just went up to see the National Bottle Museum in Ballston Spa, which is a great trip outside of Saratoga. Yeah. You know, most people might just want to go up to Saratoga and see the racetrack. This is 10 minutes away from there, and it's so interesting because it showcases these beautiful bottles that were used to bottle the water from the natural springs in Saratoga. And it really showcases a blend of history, art, and technology, which you might not realize until you actually went and visited
I guess that
the
makes a lot of
museum
sense. I get, you know, and last time we were in Saratoga too, what I found interesting was the actual baths that you can go and bathe in the spring water, which I think, have you ever done one of that? It was really, I thought it was going to be like, this will be kind of fun and interesting. It was, because you float. You actually, float. I know you guys are looking at me like, the crew's looking at me like I'm a moron, but you do. You actually float in this, and it's very relaxing. It's very soothing, and especially if you're up there, you know, speaking of the racetrack, you go to the Racing Museum, which I also found to be really interesting. And again, you know, Saratoga Springs, another example of, you can go to the race course, but, you know, the National Ballet Museum is up there. I mean, like this, I just love the book for that very reason, that there are so many, as my brother would say, hidden treasures out there. That's one of the things I love about the book. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
I really appreciate it. It's a Reader's Digest book, so you know you can't go wrong there. All right, so here's the bottom line here this week. I want to be very clear about what we're doing here. The cool thing about the program is during the course of the week, you can go to WABCRadio.com and you can download the video segments of what we've been doing this past 2 hours. I mean, that makes a lot of sense. So you can go and do that, and then you can also get these segments that are available online as well. So that's something that, you know, we want to make sure you do. But a lot of times on this program, we get emails about, well, we need these tips, you know, we do these travel tips, and one of the things that I thought today would be a good idea to do is talk about how we want you to actually, your mind, having a great mindset for travel, especially when it comes to the airlines. That's something we talk about from time to time on this particular program, and I think it's worth noting today. Something that I want you to do is, first, I want you to make a checklist. I know it sounds kind of silly. You say, oh, Eric, I'm not a checklist kind of person, but no, I want you to try this out, because if you make that checklist, I call it the before I leave home checklist, not just your packing list, but before I leave the house checklist. And the reason I want you to do that is you can start doing that planning weeks in advance. Whenever you book your ticket, you can start writing down things like, oh, I want to unplug the coffee pot. Oh, I want to have my friend John come over and water the plants or take care of the kitties or walk the dog. You can start putting all of those things on that kind of a list, so that as the time approaches for your departure, especially if you're having, if you're going with other people, it's very important that you can start referring to that list, so that way you're not panicked about, oh my gosh, I wonder if I remember to, oh, I can't remember if I did. It's on the list. That's the first thing. Second thing is packing. It's very important that you pack properly for your trip. Now, Johnny Jett will tell you, a good friend of this program, he doesn't like to check luggage on some of his trips because he doesn't like to deal with the airlines and luggage. Okay, that's fine. Well, whatever it is, make sure you make that packing list. It's very important to do that. I can't stress also enough getting to the airport on time, if not early. And one of the reasons I want you to do that is, I can tell you, I've been on enough trips where you're panicked in the car trying to get to the airport. You can't drive, you know, you're worried about the flight. Do yourself a favor and just arrive early. Domestic flights, 90 minutes. International flights, at least 2.5 hours early. Yeah, you're going to sit around at the terminal for a second. You know, that's the nature of the beast. That's good. And that means if you are sitting around, that means everything is going well. Same thing with the stuff that you're checking and bringing on the airplane with you. Get a bottle of water after security. I always do either like some almonds or trail mix. I also do mints and gum. Not just for you, sometimes for your seatmate. And believe me, if somebody offers you a mint on an airplane, what do? Take it. Yeah, very important. That means they're not necessarily just being nice, they're being helpful to you. So just a little thought. And also on your travel day, make sure you're not planning appointments that you can't miss on your travel day. Heaven forbid something goes wrong with weather and you have a delay. You don't want it. You want to make sure you arrive and have plenty of time on your travel day. So just a little thought, a little tip as we end the program today. That being said, thank you for watching. Thank you to everybody very much for being here. We really appreciate it, and we will be back next week, 2 o'clock on WABC.